Our next guest is a comedian who is celebrating the release of his very first comedy album,
which debuted at number 6 on iTunes. It's called The Blake Album. Blake Wexler, thanks for being here.
Oh my God, thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I get that.
Yeah.
There's no studio audience, so I have to do it. It's like maybe someday we'll get a audience of robot clappers. Like I think that would be
just
good.
metal on metal. It's not.
It doesn't even sound like applause. It's just like
not
somebody beating pots and pans together is the sound.
Tin toy hitting the cymbals. That's what we get. A bunch of monkeys with the cymbals. That's
Welcome to the show. Clang, clang.
Well, that makes everyone feel comfortable. That sound.
I like that I suggest that as opposed to just a sound bed of people clapping. Like that's the simpler answer, but no, I need a robot studio audience. That's exactly what we need here.
You are accustomed to audiences clapping.
It's the goal.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
It is the goal for sure. Yeah,
You've been doing stand-up for a long time.
I did. I started when I was real young. I started when I was 15.
Wow.
And yeah, I did it through college, and I'm still doing it.
What at 15? What made you say I want to be on stage in front of people potentially heckling me?
Yeah.
I didn't know about the heckling part yet. And
they don't tell that to 15-year-olds.
No,
so you watch
no,
all those great
don't.
comedy specials, and every joke is amazing, and everybody's laughing, and you're like, oh, George Carlin is just getting all these laughs. Like, I want to be a stand-up comedian too.
Meanwhile, he bombed all the time. No, I'm kidding. He was
Yeah.
amazing. But yeah, I just kept doing it. And my mom drove me to shows like when I first started, and they weren't good shows. Like they were in, terrible dive bars with a bunch of animals from Philadelphia at 1 o'clock in the morning. But I guess I liked it.
Actual animals.
Yeah. It's like, that was
petting
a
zoo.
Yeah, that was
Bears.
a barn. That wasn't a barn. You were
Bears.
drinking at a petting zoo is what it was.
What was it? What
It
were
was
your?
a dive barn. That's
Yes.
what it
Oh,
was.
I
It was a
like
dive
that.
barn.
Well done.
Dive barn.
That could be the next hit bar.
I like it. The dive barn.
Dive barn.
You're welcome.
We
Somebody
gotta
out
all
there is gonna
invest in
start
the
that
dive
business.
barn.
Yeah, the dive barn.
You're welcome,
sounds pretty
John
amazing.
Taffer.
Or you can
wherever you are.
pet exotic animals, like while you're wasted. They bring out a sloth and you can like pet the
Actual
dive
well
barn.
drinks.
Actual drink. Yeah, I like it. I like
Nailed
it.
it. Yes.
Nailed
No,
it. Crushed
dopey.
it.
Thank you.
So what is I mean, not to dwell on your beginnings, but what does a
Please.
15-year-old set feel like?
Yeah, what do
sound
you
like?
write
What
about?
did you start with?
It was really bizarre because, the subject matter, you only have so much life experience. So,
Sure.
it was the SATs, it was,
Very serious.
like math class. But my delivery, my favorite comedian was Lewis Black. And I had this weird, angry delivery. And it's like, why is he angry? He's a white kid from the suburbs. He's 15. He's talking about, tests that, no one cares. But it was very bizarre. I think people weren't laughing for the right reasons. They were
Fair,
just like,
okay.
why is this kid so angry?
It's more
But yeah.
confusing than not funny. They were
I
just
think
like,
that's
don't
what it
know,
was.
They were confused.
Right.
I think that a lot of people who start by emulating the people that they like, and then
Sure.
sort of have that process of finding their own voice, right? Or not.
For sure. Yeah.
It's interesting to see your brand of comedy sort of now is, I like that sort of your persona on stage is that you're just sort of always by default kind of annoyed at people. You're just like, oh, look at these dumb things people are doing.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't even think, I'm a very happy person, but then,
Yeah.
I'll try to talk about, annoying things in a silly, way where just,
Right.
it doesn't, none of the things are, huge issues.
Sure.
It's just like, oh, I just saw a person who in a very specific way bothered me, but doesn't affect anyone else. It's very relatable.
I like that idea, that sort of snowball effect where it's like this one tiny thing is annoying me and then you can just build it into this really kind of interesting thing that collectively grabs everybody. It's sort of a really
Thank you.
good way to sort of describe what you do, in your
Cool.
jokes, how you build them.
I like the sound of it.
Yeah.
Will you represent me?
You know what? I
feel
am
like you're selling
accepting
me
new
very-
clients.
That's
I'm accepting
excellent.
new clients.
I'm sorry, someone dropped out. Maybe you fired them. Maybe you fired them.
Well, I decided
Yeah.
to stop representing Jeff because it's a conflict
well,
of
this is the
interest.
first time hearing
Oh
this.
my
It's a
God.
conflict of interest. We're just on the same
Should
show.
I go?
It's weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about
There's
making.
all my SAT jokes that I
Oh,
wrote.
God.
Oh my God! Oh, so you
useless
took
now.
them? Yeah, at least
needed-
somebody's getting use out of them. I'm not.
I gotta get more out of it. So tell us a little bit about creating your first comedy album, because this is something that I think a lot of people, when they hear a comedy album, they don't really realize how many years of work can go into crafting a set, a specific hour of comedy.
Right. Yeah, it was. I actually did do a chunk on the album of old jokes, when I was a kid that I wrote. So that was a fun little 3-minute part of it. But yeah, it is years where you just gotta be in the right place for it, I think. I think, I don't know, when I started, recording an album seemed oh, this is the pinnacle of, nothing can get better than it. And then it happens, and, it's hard to be, now I'm oh, now I, need to sell it as a special. You know what I mean? But
Sure.
it was such a cool, accomplishment where the reason why I did it was almost to add like have like a benchmark like for my career where like, all right, so I did this, I have an album, you know what I mean? And then if I make my money back, then great. You know, like the goal was kind of to break even and just have that as like a sentimental thing. And then anything else was a bonus. But then it ended up selling really well, and it came out great. Like it, you know, like so many things in this business don't go the way you want it to. But then like from getting the right like audio guy to work with, and then you know, the comedy club selling out with the right people. You know, like an audience that was there to see me, and then yeah, and then like just the way the cuts came together, and there was a weird. Like any curveball was kind of handled where I stayed with cats that weekend. Like, I mean, human beings who owned cats. But,
the cast of cats.
Yeah, I
on
stayed with
Broadway.
it. Yeah, and they're always in costume. But they.
Cast of cats. That's great.
Not to. What if that was my way of name dropping? I stayed with the cast of cats. Like, I don't know if that's cool, but that's odd. That
My
you chose
roommates
that.
are the two leads in Cats. It's fine. It's no big deal.
What cross section in your lives like led to you staying with them? But I stayed. My best friends in Philly have cats that I'm allergic to them, but not like, you know, heart shut down allergic. So I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And then when I listened to the first cut of the album, you wouldn't be able to hear it as an audience member, but because of like the high quality audio equipment, when I would take a deep breath, there was like a wheezing noise. And like I called like Alex Dingley, who's the amazing sound mixer, I called him, I'm like, if this stays in here, we can't release this. Like this is a horrific noise for people. Like it sounds like, oh, laugh, 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 funny, funny. Yeah, and then like you would hear like a long drawn out beep
Like,
of
I
like,
think he's dying. Like this is not good.
yeah, this is not, it's supposed to be
Should
funny,
we buy
but
his
we're
album?
worried.
I feel really worried about
We have
him.
to
We
pay
should
for
give
his
him
medical
some money.
bills.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
probably why he released it. Oh no.
It was crazy, yeah, and I'm like, and thank God we were able to get rid of that noise, but it's a thing you would never ever think of.
Well,
you know,
thanks,
'cause,
Cats.
I know, thank you so much, yeah.
Almost blew it for our old friend Blake here.
Destroyed my career, but
Yeah, no, like just like have a personal life vendetta against cats.
right,
after
the
your album
whole
doesn't
every
sell.
cat that I've ever experienced crossed before
That's a
my eyes,
parallel
and-
universe that's happening right now, by the way.
I
Cats
hope-
having ruined your career. Like
Oh
in
my
some
God.
weird parallel alternate universe, they have completely destroyed your life.
have a vendetta against me for sure. Yeah.
And vice versa. I mean, you're really out to get them now.
Well, now I am. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I like to be the bigger
Not in
you
this
know,
life.
species, but
not
I'm
in
not.
this life, of course.
No.
No, never. But in that other parallel universe, it's time for them to go.
Oh, it's over. Yeah, I'm quitting comedy. Become a cat
Cat hunter.
revenger. Yeah.
Cat Avenger.
Avenger.
Perfect. Yeah, great.
Another one of those. Did you feel the pressure then now that you did that album to like put all that material away and have to craft new material?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the pressure is all put on myself.
Right.
You know, like I'm the one putting the pressure on me because, like, it's not like, I mean, people will come to see me, but I'm not famous enough where, like, oh, I'm going back to this theater where people paid $60 a ticket where, like, you know, they'll want their money back. You know,
Right.
so like,
Right.
I'm trying, like, when I do sets now, like, only maybe 10 or 15% old stuff and then the rest brand new. So, and it's also kind of taken a pressure off where it's like, you know, I've been doing this for a while. I've been doing well enough at it for a while to have a career, but it's also like, oh, now there's definitive proof that I'm good at this. You know what I mean? Where
It's out there. It's
yeah,
official.
and it's like a tangible thing.
You have something
where-
you can sell.
And you can
Right,
point
right,
people
yeah.
to it. Like if you can't see me live, like you can now buy this record.
Right, right. It's like I promise I'm good, you know, and it's just like, oh, okay, he's you know good. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. So it's also like kind of freed me up, you know, like I'm less there's less anxiety trying out new, not just material, but like ways of doing stand up and stuff. So
Sure.
it's yeah, it's been a
What
great
do you mean
thing
by
for
that?
me.
Ways of doing stand-up?
Or like if I want to like improvise more, or like talk about like just throw a character in the middle of a joke, you know, like or something like that, or you know like go
Like
off
the Cat
mic and-
Revenger.
Yeah,
yes,
of
the
course,
Cat
yeah.
Revenger is yeah. I mean,
You can write that down.
right,
That's fine.
yeah.
You can have that.
Everyone
for
who
free.
watches has to sign an NDA, not to disclose.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of NDAs, I'm curious. We've asked this question of comedians
Mm-hmm.
before on the show and writers. How do you find workshopping things in a world of technology, like where
Mm-hmm.
people are able to Snapchat your sets as you're workshopping things? People are able to sort of get that information out there before it's really kind of baked. Like,
Right.
how do you deal with that, or what's like your response to that? Does that annoy you? Is that
Mm-hmm.
something that you've learned to work around? How has that affected you as a comedian?
That's a great question. I think it's like I mean, when people videotape me, there's two, like, thoughts where I'm like, could you please stop doing that would be a thing. And then, but also, like, if they put it online, like, if I'm not good enough to write a better joke after that, like, if that for some reason, like, puts a roadblock in my career, then I need to be a better writer. You know what I mean? So it's like, please don't do that. But, like, also, I have a responsibility to be good enough to keep, writing and coming up with a new thing.
Sure.
So, but yeah, there's a cool thing where Hannibal Buress, who's a great comedian, he tried out this technology. I have no idea how it works, but it kills, like, it doesn't kill your phone, but, like, your phone won't work. Like,
we had that guy on the show, this
oh,
creator
no way.
that is called Yonder, and you put your phone in a little magnetic pouch,
Yeah.
and then it locks when you're in the venue, and you can't take your phone out until you leave.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
You're all for that.
I'm all for that. Also, like, to enjoy an art, like,
sure,
like
to be present.
Yeah, and it really does, like, I don't know, just being present, I think, is so underrated. It's just like, no, just enjoy what you're doing right now. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I need a second screen experience for life.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes there's times for it, but other times, like, just put it over there. Like, my friend Todd, when he has people over, you put your phone in the bowl, like, when you walk in, you leave it there.
Oh, and then whoever's you get out of the bowl, you can maybe
you take
have.
home.
Yeah.
You take home.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Yeah.
You get to
Jessica's
use their
phone
Uber
now.
account. So that's basically it.
Ooh, I
It's
like that.
not anything else. You just get to use their Uber. It's pretty good.
I like that a lot.
21st century
I do
tea
like the one
party.
where it's like you get together with your friends, everybody puts their phone on a stack on the table, and then whoever touches their phone first pays for dinner.
I like that too.
That's a good rule.
Yeah.
Unless you have
what
really
you
broke
do,
friends, so then
that
you just don't go to dinner with
Right, they
them.
have a rotary phone in the middle.
Yeah,
They're just like, we know
yeah.
it's Chuck's. And
You get your friend to call somebody else's phone, and then it's ringing right there, and they have to
Oh
get
my
it, and
God.
then you win because you didn't have to pay for dinner.
Subterfuge.
Or like change their, like, one of the names in their phone of the friend to, like, the name of their child calling them. And keep,
Yeah.
calling over
That's
and
good.
over again.
That's
It's kind
good.
of evil, but funny.
That is super
Yeah.
evil. I like that.
Do you sit down and write jokes, or do you kind of craft them while you're on stage? What's your process of making comedy?
I'll do both. Like, I like putting in the work of actually writing it out, but then kind of bullet point it, and then, like, when I bring it on stage, like, just almost, like, improvise the thing. So, like, I'll have both, where if in the moment I come up with something funnier, it's like, okay, cool, and, like, I'll record it on my iPhone and then listen back and be like, all right, I can plug in that thing that I thought of on stage there. But I also like having, like, the pre-written thing, almost not as a safety net, but as, like, a foundation of it, I guess.
Like the skeleton of your joke, and then you sort of see what happens when you take it up on
Right,
stage.
and I just throw genitals
You feel
on
it out, yeah.
just on stage.
Right.
They say skeleton plus genitals
equals
Equals
comedy.
comedy. Yeah, that's a
Not
famous.
tragedy plus time. That's old.
Right,
that's
right.
that's so old.
This is downtrodden topics.
This is
Genitals
the
plus
21st
skeleton.
century. We got to spice it up a little bit.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you.
Our time is already up. The album is called The Blake Album. It's super easy, you guys.
You can find it on iTunes, right?
Oh, yeah.
And other places?
Other places, yeah.
Okay.
So-
Find those other places.
Yeah, find those other
yeah,
places.
a little
Well-
challenge for you at home. Find my album on the internet.
And
always
if
good.
You
That's
can't
always
find, and if you can't find it, what is your website so that people can go there, or because you're the same everywhere on there?
Yeah, it's blakewexler.com, and then at Blake Wexler on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's
follow this man, but not in real life because that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Follow him on the internet. Get his comedy album. Enjoy it and laugh. And thank you so much.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. This was so much fun.
Awesome.
We will be right back with what I'm very excited about, which is I'm going to grill you on which one's better, Vive or Oculus. So
Grill me.
Yeah. So stick around. It's Tomorrow Daily.